Now, many of you already know that when you look into the premium electric vehicle segment, NIO, it is one of the leaders, which is something that is pretty good. I mean, last time we covered a report which showed that on cars that are over 300,000 RMB in China, NIO topped the list with a market share of over 60%. Now, this made a lot of us investors who are investing onto NIO to, of course, be excited, especially when it comes amidst so many investors or retail investors complaining about NIO's deliveries, complaining that probably NIO is not delivering enough, which probably maybe they might be right. I also want them to deliver more, but when I look at that report, it showed me that, ladies and gents, NIO is doing pretty well, because in its segment, which is the, of course, a premium EV segment, they are doing pretty good because they have a market share of over 60%. Now, ladies and gents, yesterday we got to see actually the vehicles or the models that have been doing so well for the past 10 months or year to date out of NIO, or that made them top that list, which of course the first EV model was the ES6, followed by, of course, the ET5, ET5 Touring, ES8, then ES7, then EC6. Now, with the EC6, you will know that the reason why they have these low numbers is because the NIO just recently started selling this model, and it is looking like it is taking over, or it is stealing some of the deliveries that were meant to be for the ES6, which is something that, of course, as time unfolds, or as the last 3 months of this year unfolds, I won't be surprised this EC6 being, of course, third or the fourth, because, ladies and gents, they are doing pretty good in terms of sales. Now, this list that we read or that we saw shows us the kind of vehicles or models that really contributed a lot towards the, of course, the deliveries year to date, which is something that is pretty amazing. Especially one of the models that makes me to be really excited is the ES8, and reason being that is the most expensive model that you can buy from NIO, and to show that it is pushing or doing so well in terms of sales makes me to be really excited. Now, NIO is not only selling these many models or many vehicles, but they are also deploying a lot of infrastructure to make sure that those that buy the NIO cars can be at ease and not stress about the infrastructure to either charge or replenish their battery, which is something that, of course, it is something that is truly amazing, because still yesterday there was another report which was released which showed that when you look in terms of infrastructure, or when you look in terms of battery replenishment infrastructure, NIO leads them all in China. They are number one, which is something that is pretty good, because the report showed that NIO had over 5,400 of course infrastructure when you look in terms of swapping and of course charging, because with swapping you'll know that NIO just recently exceeded over 2,100 battery swaps in China, and of course when it comes to charging piles, then it is the other, or it is the remaining amount from that 5,400, which is something that makes me to be really excited, because not only is NIO selling these many models, but they are also making sure that there is sufficient infrastructure for their users, and also some, especially when charging infrastructure, because with charging you'll know that NIO also allows other companies to charge their cars. I mean, there was a point in time when NIO released a stat and said that 60% or over 60% of the charging infrastructure is being used by other companies, which is something that, of course, must just show you that NIO is not just only building charging infrastructure for themselves, but they are also building charging infrastructure to help other EVs. Now, the most important thing from this report is that the second place, or the second EV company that, of course, has the most infrastructure is Tesla. Tesla, ladies and gents, as seen on the screen, only has around 2,300 charging infrastructure, which is something that shows you that from the over 5.4 to 2.3, it means that the kind of infrastructure that Tesla has, it's roughly around 50% when comparing to, of course, the infrastructure or charging infrastructure that NIO has. Oh, and by the way, just to correct, this report includes battery swapping station from January to October. So some of the battery swapping stations that NIO has deployed from the beginning of November till now they have not been included, or they are not included on this list, which means, or therefore means, that they are now more than 5,400, which is something that is pretty good, right? For the first 10 months, this is where NIO was sitting at in terms of infrastructure that either charges or swap battery to those that buy the NIO car. So I'm very excited because Tesla comes at number 2 with almost 50%, or rather at almost 50% of what NIO has, which is something that must just show you that in terms of course, infrastructure that of course replenish or the battery that sort of like charges or replaces the battery in your car, NIO, it is a leader in China as it stands, which is something that makes me to be really excited. This sort of like shows us as the new investors that not only is NIO planning or just planning to deploy, not only is NIO implementing deployment of these many models, but they are making sure that there's enough infrastructure, of course, out there for their users to enjoy, especially with battery swapping station technology. You will know that that technology, NIO does not share it with anyone at the moment. It is only being utilized by the NIO users who subscribe to bus, and next year we will be seeing NIO's sub-brand also utilizing this of course infrastructure, or battery swapping station infrastructure, which is something that of course it is a game changer, right? Because over and above the charging infrastructure that's there, the NIO users will be able to swap the batteries in their car. And one of the things that I like about NIO when it comes to the deployment of these battery swapping stations, NIO, it is strategically placing them so that at least it brings convenience to the NIO users who subscribe to bus. So when I read this news yesterday, or when I saw these reports yesterday, I was very excited, and I felt some confidence in me investing into this company, because, ladies and gents, NIO, it is, like I said, also deploying this infrastructure, or this so many infrastructure for their users to enjoy. And this should make you to ask yourself one question, and that is NIO going to get bankrupt? And I don't think the signs are showing that, because, ladies and gents, there is no way that NIO can be going to bankruptcy and yet deploying so much infrastructure for charging and or battery replenishment, which is something that I think it's one of the things that makes me to be confident that NIO will do very well. They know what they are doing. They are not just deploying these infrastructures for nothing. They are not just, of course, starting to sell so many models for nothing. They know what they are doing, and come NIO day, we'll get to see more of the good news as to what is NIO planning towards when we go to 2024, especially with their sub brands, which I think we'll get more information on that, and we'll probably get to see the model or the sub brand models being unveiled during that day. Otherwise, with all that, guys, I just thought I'd just give you this quick update. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, comment and subscribe, and once you subscribe, don't forget to hit or click that notification bell so that at least you get notified by YouTube every time I drop a new content. Otherwise, that's all from me, and I wish you nothing but the best in your stock market investing journey. And before you buy NIO for the very first time, it is always good that you do your own due diligence so that at least you can be comfortable as you are investing onto this stock. Otherwise, that's all from me, and God bless you all.